The following is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys?
Yeah! Go Cowboys!
Let's go, baby!
Are you ready for a break?
Yes.
Are you ready for a break?
Absolutely.
Ready for a break?
Yeah, and so much for that.
It's time for The Break on DallasCowboys.com.
We were on the break!
With Ambar Garcia, Bryan Broaddus, Nick Harris, and Derek Eagleton.
It is Wednesday, November 13th, 2024, Season 20, Episode number 67. Welcome to the latest edition of The Break. We are live from the SWBC Mortgage Studios at the Star, presented by LG. LG is the world's #1 OLED TV brand for 11 years and counting. See why at LG.com/OLED Evo. How's everybody doing today?
Good.
Really good.
Yeah, let's get the energy up. Let's go.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Let's go. Let's get excited.
Really good.
Yeah, it's a good day. It's a
Yeah.
good day. We all woke up and we're all healthy and it's a good day, right? All right, we got a lot of stuff we're going to talk about today. We're going to introduce the Houston Texans. We will start with their offense and how they match up against this Dallas defense. I want to start first with just kind of a general overview of this team because it's an uncommon opponent for the Dallas Cowboys. I was looking at just some of the basic information around. They're 6-4, obviously. They are first place in the AFC South. They're coached by DeMeco Ryans, who is for those that don't know, he is a defensive coach. Came from San Francisco, was a defensive coordinator there, and the last season he was with San Francisco at the #1 ranked defense in the NFL. This year, they also have the #3 ranked defense in the NFL with the Houston Texans in only his second year with that team. As I want to go around the table, tell me what you think is the thing that stands out to most to you as you look at this team. It can be offense or defense. Just as you look at this Houston Texans team, what do you think stands out the most to you that you would characterize? Like, if you had to describe them, how would you describe this Texans team?
Talented youth. This is going to be a team that's going to be around a really long time. And I guess this is more so big picture rather than this game specifically. But you look on both sides of the ball, and they have talented players who are young on rookie contracts who are already taking the league by storm. You can start with C.J. Stroud. He's developed a weapon in Tank Dell early on. You have Will Anderson on the other side of the ball, Jalen Petrie on the other side of the ball, and they've paired these guys with veterans. And Stephon Diggs on the offensive side, obviously he tore his ACL, so it's a little bit different. But Nico Collins as well. Robert Woods is still a veteran presence in that locker room. You look on the defensive side, you got Daniil Hunter, who's been able to contribute from a pass rush perspective. Aziz Al-Shaair from the linebacking core.
Yeah.
I mean, they did a really good job.
You're throwing out a lot of names.
Yeah,
that's a lot of talented players. Yeah.
They did a really good job over the offseason of pairing veterans with some of these young guys to kind of close in that, I guess, knowledge gap that I think at times kind of hindered them last year. I think they're still figuring things out, and we'll talk about it today and tomorrow. But overall, you can see the veteran presence starting to kind of trickle down throughout these young guys. They're trying to maximize the rookie contract of C.J. Stroud and Will Anderson. I think they're doing a great job of it.
They were a bad team at one time.
This year or just in general?
No, at one time.
Gotcha. Okay.
At one time.
Yeah.
Before,
Just once?
Before Ryans got there,
Yeah.
they were a bad team.
Yep.
And they took advantage of people needing players. They took advantage of being at the right position, placed perfectly in a draft to be able to get picks. And as you get picks, to Nick's point, you draft and you get young players. And all of a sudden, young players who they've hit on have done a really, really nice job, and now their team's better. They've done a good job with their free agency. It's puzzling to me how they've allowed their offensive line to be what it is, though. Mm-hmm. And we'll get into that today. If there's going to be something that's going to hold them back from being maybe a really one of those upper echelon teams, they better figure out their offensive line, because they could be wasting some opportunities with their young quarterback. Joe Mixon, we'll talk about him. He's been a great addition for them. But for all the talent and stuff that they have on defense and all the talent they have at skill position, at wide receiver, their offensive line could be their downfall going forward as they get into the playoffs or try and win the NFC South, or the AFC South, excuse me.
They are a talented team there. And before we started the show, I was sitting here. I'm like, I don't care about the scouting report. I don't want to hear about it. It's just, I don't care about any other teams at this point. But you start looking at them and you got to appreciate some of the talent that they do have in general. And also looking at how they've gone through the season, they don't tend to score a ton of points. Like, they don't go into games where they completely dominate the opposing team. And it just leaves me, again, my silly me, where I always think there is a chance, not, just for this weekend, to where maybe, just maybe, if Cowboys the offense finds a way to start scoring some points, it is a matchup where I think they could potentially put up a decent battle and come out with the win this weekend.
Yeah, I have a feeling though we're going to get to their defense tomorrow, and it's going to be,
It is.
Brian's going to be over here going, I can't believe that they drafted as many great players as they have on that defense.
It's unreal.
Yeah, and that's going to be the rub. And can Dallas? I think Dallas defensively could do some really good things against this offense. I think they can, depending on what happens at left corner. But again, we'll get into all this stuff. I just feel like though, when we sit down and say, okay, well, where's their real big advantage? Their real big advantage is their defense over Dallas's offense, especially when you don't have your quarterback, and you have questions along the offensive line, and what kind of routes are you going to run in this game? Are you even going to be able to get open much, with the way that they play? So, that's going to be,
if the stars align correctly.
Oh.
On a 7:15 p.m. game, there's always a chance.
What about the moon?
The moon, perfectly.
Can I go ahead?
Better nighttime. You got better chances at nighttime.
Can I ask you who you're going to pick on Friday?
But that's the interesting part. I think after the point is after you listen to the show today, you're going to walk away being like, maybe there's a chance.
No, there is.
And then you're going to listen tomorrow and you're going to be like, oh.
No, and
because that's the way this team is.
No, it's the way it is. And you're so it's such a struggle on offense. If you had your offense kind of humming along, I mean, you probably wouldn't be 3-6 either. Yeah. You'd be much better. You might be like these guys, 6-4 or something like that. But you're not. You're this is going to be tough. I know Nick and I are going to tell you today, there are ways to take advantage of this offensive line. If you could keep them from running the football, and last week I think you played against a better back last week, with Saquon Barkley. Joe Mixon's a good player. Don't get me wrong. But man, you find a way to control the running. You have a chance on defense this week. It's the offense that might be your downfall there.
Well, I will tell you this. As I look at the Houston Texans organization, and Brian, you said it a little earlier where you said they once were a bad team.
They were.
It wasn't even just they were a bad organization. They had all kinds of problems that went all throughout the organization. And that wasn't that long ago. 5 years ago?
No. Bill
maybe.
O'Brien, whole crew.
It was in a bad way. It was in a bad way. They had a quarterback in Deshaun Watson, who they essentially needed to get rid of because of all the off-the-field stuff. But the point is, you look at that and you look at what they were able to do in, again, a relatively short period of time to turn it around to be where they are now. It just tells you the fickle nature of the NFL, right? Things can flip pretty quickly in the NFL if you can make the right moves at the right time. And so that part, I'm like, hats off to them, because I thought it was going to take a lot longer than this for them to get back into this kind of position where they are a contender.
Yeah, Nick Sirianni, who's the general manager there, Nick was about to get fired.
Yeah.
I mean, him, Bill O'Brien, all those guys. I mean, Lovie Smith, they were really not a very good football team. And all of a sudden, they changed the coach. That worked. They went out, Nick, all of a sudden, they hit on a couple of drafts.
Yep.
That got them back.
Got a quarterback.
They got a quarterback. Everybody was kind of like Lovie Smith, if you remember that year.
Yep.
Lovie Smith wins the last game of the year against the Colts. And everybody's like going, what the hell are you doing? And they end up with the second overall pick, and then they end up drafting. Carolina gets the first pick, and then they take Bryce Young. The Texans take C.J. Stroud. Somewhere Lovie Smith right now is probably laughing, sitting on a boat. Can you believe I did that? Won the last game. Everybody's pissed off at me, and then they got C.J. Stroud.
Better.
Yeah. I mean, he actually left him in a better place.
Yeah.
So they've been really fortunate with that. They do a really good job in free agency too. They go out, they have a good blend, they have the right coach, They have the right draft, and they have a blend with some free agents that they've gotten, and that's made their team much better.
Yeah, this is a lot of credit to their front office, Nick Caserio and those guys. I think with D'Amico Ryans as an influence as well, you can start to see that influence trickle down. I think you saw in his very first draft, going out and getting Will Anderson and then developing Jalen Petrie over these last couple of years. And, hey, I need a linebacker. Let's go get Aziz Al-Shaair. I just think they've done such a good job constructing this team top to bottom. This is going to be a team that's going to be around a really long time. I do believe that.
All right, we're going to take our first break. When we come back, we're going to dive into this Houston offense, get a little deeper into that conversation. We'll be back. DallasCowboys.com radio.
Todd thought it would be secure to jog in the cheetah savanna. Todd believed the big cat repellent he bought online was reliable. And now, Todd is trying to be faster than this cheetah that can run 80 miles per hour. But the good news is, Todd has AT&T 5G that is fast, reliable, and secure. And he learned the best thing to do is stop running and toss her the backpack with the beef stew. AT&T 5G. Fast, reliable, secure.
5G requires compatible plan and device. 5G may not be available in your area. See att.com/5G for you for details.
It's the official men's skincare brand of the Dallas Cowboys, Jack Black. And right now, Cowboys fans can get 15% off their $75 order. Plus, because every deal needs a playmaker, your order will include a free 5-piece skincare set and free shipping. The Jack Black Playmaker is 4 of Jack's favorites and a full-sized intense therapy lip balm. Make a play for the Playmaker at getjackblack.com/Cowboys with the code CowboysVIP. That's getjackblack.com/Cowboys with the code CowboysVIP.
Don't put off getting your oil change, Dallas. Take 5 Oil Change, a proud partner of the Cowboys, is faster than you think. They're so fast, you don't even have to get out of your car. You can take advantage of Take 5's Stay in Your Car 10-minute oil change at any of their locations across the Dallas area. And remember, at Take 5, you stay in your car because they're faster than you think. That means you won't even have time to show off your best touchdown celebration. Take 5, the official oil change of the Dallas Cowboys.
From the field to the festivities, Lucchese embodies the essence of luxury and tradition. Handcrafted with meticulous precision, each pair offers unmatched comfort and style. Stand tall while you're tailgating or cheering in the stands with the Dallas Cowboys collection by Lucchese. Shop the collection today at the Lucchese store at the Star in Frisco or online at lucchese.com. Lucchese, the official boot of the Dallas Cowboys and Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders.
Hey y'all, Matt Pittman of Meat Church here. With football season kicking off, I'm already gearing up to bring the smoker back to AT&T Stadium for some epic tailgates. But with that Texas heat, it's crucial to keep my beer hand cramping cold. That's where Yeti's insulated Colster can cooler comes in clutch. This year, you can even get them with the iconic star engraved on the side. Licensed Yeti Cowboys gear is now available at Stadium Pro Shops, concessions, and on Yeti.com. Check it out today. Yeti, official cooler and drinkware of the Dallas Cowboys.
Back to the break.
LG OLED Evo is the best TV in the game, but don't take our word for it. Digital Trends said the LG OLED G4 has the best picture quality they've ever seen. See it for yourself at lg.com/OLED Evo.
Welcome back. Second segment of the break live from the SWBC Mortgage Studios at the Star. The segment brought to you by blockchain.com. All right, let's dive into this Houston offense. Right now, they are ranked 15th across the league. They are 15th in passing, 18th in rushing offense. Let's start first with Nico Collins. How much is him being out, because he just got back last week, he'd been out for several weeks.
Yeah.
How much has him being out affected this offense and their ability to be able to move the ball?
I think there's a couple of things here that I think he'll be able to integrate back into, and it'll help this offense. I'm going to start away from the receiving game. They love to run Joe Mixon outside, and it felt like in the beginning, whenever Nico was out, that they were having some trouble finding some running lanes on the pure outside, trying to find the sideline and ride the sideline, because Mixon loves to do that. Nico's a great blocker, and he's able to get out in front and pave those ways for Mixon. Now that's the run game. The passing game specifically, Nico's that downfield threat, and whenever they lost him, they lost Stephon Diggs. It made life difficult for CJ Stroud, because he's having to turn to a guy like Tank Dell, who Tank is a good receiver. It was somebody I really liked coming out of Houston a couple of years ago, but I don't necessarily see him as somebody who could fight off coverage, get open downfield. I like him in the 10 to 20 range. So I think it gives them that downfield presence a little bit more. Nico's a little bit more physical. He's a crisp route runner. I wouldn't say he's the crispest, but he's a crisp route runner. I think he can make things difficult for this secondary. Overall, we might get into this a little bit more here in a bit, but Bobby Slowick, their offensive coordinator, his route concepts make the life really difficult for the secondary, specifically in the safeties. They will run double routes right on top of each other, and they will force that safety to make a split decision. And if you make the wrong one, Stroud is going to identify it, and he's one of the most accurate guys in the entire NFL. Nico Collins does such a good job of being able to get everybody in line, make sure everybody has the right assignment, right route, and he does a really good job of managing that and exploiting those safeties.
Yeah, with Collins, you got a big body guy. It's a 6'4", 220-pound guy. So that makes it very difficult because some of his best routes, if you go back and watch him, the slants. He cannot. I mean, he is hard to defend when he's running those to him. His downfield stuff. I mean, all these guys have the ability to get downfield. The funny thing about it is some of of Stroud's downfield passes though have resulted in interceptions when they've tried to kind of attack that. The thing with Tank Dell, though, playing, and when you look at Dell, Collins the bigger guy, Dell the smaller guy, Dell the quicker guy. I kept watching him, and it was like completion after completion after completion on the crossing routes. The stuff underneath, and I was sitting there thinking, man, that is a lot of them. And I went and checked on them. They're 10 for 10 on crossing routes with Tank Dell. So here you talk about putting pressure on. What's the one thing we feel like the Dallas maybe has gotten a little bit better? We always worry about the safety play with the crossing routes or having to carry guys inside. And here's Dell, and they haven't missed a pass yet on the outside. We'll see. Like I say, with Collins, dealing with the hamstring injury and all that. I mean, this will be a really, really good test for this secondary. And you mentioned also about Mixon running the ball. Mm-hmm. He's clearly better running the ball to one side than the other. I just isolated runs, and I was watching left outside, right outside, not so good. So if you're
is that because of the blocking, or is that because of just him?
I think Nick has a really, really good point. You're also Laramie Tunsil's over there.
Yeah.
Kind of helps. I'm going to tell you, Schultz is about like what he was here. I mean, the thing you want to get Schultz in is pass blocking. Because neither one of these tight ends, if they stay in and block, they're likely to give up a pressure or a sack. They're that bad at it right now. But everything to the left, when you watch Joe Mixon outside, but it's all coming to the defense's right side. So how you play over there, that's going to Diggs' direction too. That ball's going to bounce outside. That's Diggs. He's going to have to play. Safety's down. Linebackers over. Everybody's going to have to rally over there. But how you play off the edge, off that right side will be a big key in this game, trying to stop this run. It's another team, too, if you go and look at the metrics of it, light box as opposed to the 8-man boxes and stuff like that. They've had some problems. Mixon's had some problems running against stacked boxes with 8 or more down there. Maybe Dallas has found a little bit of something with their 8-man game like from last week when they were dealing with Barkley.
Yeah. The Joe Mixon is averaging 4.3 yards per attempt and 93.6 yards per game. Obviously, really good at what he does. One of the things that I've noticed about him, he is a very physical runner.
Yeah.
Do you think this is a bad matchup for Dallas from the standpoint that he is more in the ilk of a Derrick Henry, a guy that really can be physical, but at the same time, Dallas, one of their Achilles heels has been that they haven't always been able to tackle well. And do you think from that standpoint that this is just a bad matchup for Dallas?
I mean, I was watching Joe Mixon run on Sunday night, watching back a couple of games. I think this is going to be a tough matchup for them. Yeah. It's still a team that is trying to figure out how to tackle and bring down guys, and this is a guy you can't do that against. He's going to fight off those arm tackles. You need to get a chest on Joe Mixon, and with how much they run him outside, 9 times out of 10 you're going to have to be making that play one-on-one, and so you're really relying on guys like Malik Hooker, Donovan Wilson to step up, Eric Kendricks to step up and make those one-on-one tackles. We saw each of those guys miss some critical tackles in that game against Philadelphia and throughout the season.
Where this is going to come down, though, with Mixon is if the ball's going to go to the outside. Now, we've seen with Overshone his ability to shoot gaps.
Yep.
These guards, and we'll get into this offensive line because they have some of the similar problems that Dallas has when it comes to pass blocking, and they don't handle twist stunts all that well. And it really happens at the guard spot there. They have struggled with offensive lines, or excuse me, defensive lines that have moved on them. And you go back and watch the Packers game. Double A gap look. down in a twist from a double A gap. What did Dallas had? They got 3 sacks from the double A gap blitz look where they walk those guys up in the A gap and then drop 1 or drop 2, bring 1. That Texans did not handle that at all against Green Bay. Green Bay did it several times, a lot of pressure on Stroud. He wasn't able to kind of navigate that. So if you could find a way, like I say, run-throughs against these guards, if they're going to try and stretch you, run-throughs, if knowing that ball is probably going to come to your right side. Just be ready to come flying downhill on it and make those plays if you can. Get him in the backfield. He's had some negative runs. If you look, so they call them stuffed runs. He's had some stuffed runs, especially going to that right, like I was talking about, because I kept seeing everything like going to the left, going to the left, going to the left. Everything going to the right was a little bit more difficult, but that's teams got after them, like being able to win at the line of scrimmage. And Dallas is going to have to do the same thing if they're going to want to get this guy on the ground.
See, not me about to be positive here. But not me being positive, but
never.
Although it's super true what you just said about we've seen this defense, the Cowboys defense, struggle all year long against physical players, physical runners. I think what they showed last week
gives
you hope and a little more positivity going into this game, because you did see a Dallas defense being more aggressive, playing in that way with Micah's return. I think it helps a lot what happens there with Micah now, with what Overshown showed as well. It's a trigger effect where everybody else around you starts playing a little bit better at higher level. Yeah, it's definitely going to be a challenge, but at least we saw a little sign of hope there, to where maybe this is a game where starting off they can compete a little bit.
They played against a better offensive line last week and held their own in the run game.
Yep,
my opinion.
Yep, they give 66 yards to Saquon.
The running quarterback was a problem.
Yeah, exactly. That was their problem.
His ability to, they pin guys. See, they've got when Dallas plays out of position, Dallas gives up huge plays. You can see it. 4 guys covering 3. And that leaves the quarterback a wide open run for 20-something yards.
How's Stroud? Is he?
He can run.
He
can run.
He pretty mobile?
Yeah, but the thing about it is, this guy will run into some sacks.
Yeah.
He will go back and his eyes are downfield and he will just start to move, and it's like he doesn't feel the defender right there.
I'll give him credit, though, because he moves around in the pocket way more than some young quarterbacks do. And I think that's just coming with the sophomore slump aspect of it, because I think there's a lot to talk about with C.J. Stroud. I think it's an interesting case study this year specifically, but he moves around in that pocket so much, even sometimes when there's not pressure. So I'll give you that, but he loves to step into a throw.
Right.
If he can step up into basically his center's butt and throw a pass 10, 15 yards down the field, that's what he wants to do.
Shaq Mason, the guard's given up 10 sacks. I mean, think about that.
Yeah.
Think about that. I mean, that's a problem. They've given up twist stunts, and there's been all kinds of things going on inside. I think that wasn't a misprint on that number. I mean, check me on that to make sure that it was.
I got you. PFF has a different number, but I want to.
What do they have?
They have it at 5.
They have 5. Well, in our metrics in the next gen stuff, it was 10, and I was like going, "What?"
That's a big number. 10's a big number.
I say that because the PFF sometimes can be a little different when it comes to
I was going through the sacks, and I saw 10, and I thought, "Man, that is a lot." And then you watch. There's 38 of them, and he's involved in a lot of them.
Yeah.
Like the twist stunt stuff and all that. So, yeah, I mean, it's, to me, and last week they tried Juice Scruggs as the guard, guard at left guard, and Jared Patterson played center. So they've kind of had to move some guys around a little bit to try and make some things up here. But, yeah, when I saw that number of sacks for Mason, I'm like, okay. Then I started watching, and I'm like, damn, that seems like an awful lot of sacks for a guy.
It looks like it's closer to your number,
for
sure. Yeah. And the reason they've had to move that offensive line around in the middle there was Kenyon Green going down, their left guard. So they moved Juice Scruggs to the left, bring in Jarrett Patterson to kind of fill that middle. I like Patterson. I don't necessarily love him in the run game, but I think he's a solid pass protector. I think obviously the combination of Juice Scruggs and Kenyon Green, center left guard, is better than Jarrett Patterson, Juice Scruggs, but I think they have a serviceable backup center there.
Their tackles. How did you feel about their tackle play? Because I saw with Howard, the right tackle, like people walking him.
Yeah.
I mean, and then Laramie Tunsil, who forever has been this high-level player, there's been times where he's given up some pressures, a lot of pressures. So between Tunsil, Shaq Mason, Howard, there's your hope that Dallas showed last week that maybe the pass rush is circling back. And what gave me more hope is when I watched what Green Bay did to him, blitzing him with that double A gap look that Zimmer likes to throw with the two rushers and then one rusher, two drop, or two go, one drop. Twist that thing up, muddy that thing up a little bit more inside, because like you said, Nick, quarterback is like a step up and throw guy. Yep. You can maybe get him to step right into a sack, because there's been a few of them I've saw watching the tape.
The reality. Go ahead.
He's taking some big hits as a result of him doing that too. That was all I wanted to add there.
And the reality is, if Dallas has a shot of winning this game, I think a lot of that's going to have to be on the defense actually getting turnovers, maybe even scoring.
They knocked the ball out of his hand a couple times.
Right, that's my point. With the offense having the issues that they're having, really they're going to have a short field, or the defense is going to have to score in some instances. And I think that's where you could start seeing a possibility that Dallas could figure out a way to get a win. It will have to be the defense having a stellar day and basically taking the ball away.
This offense, to give it credit, it puts pressure on all aspects of the defense. I think you look at an offense like the Lions, me personally, I feel like it really challenges the middle of your offense. The middle of your defense. They're going to run the ball. They're going to bring Laporta over the middle. Amon-Ra St. Brown loves to cover across the middle of the field. Eagles, they're a little bit more spread out, but the Texans, they will challenge your corners, they will challenge your safeties, they'll challenge your linebackers, I feel like, more than any other position group, with the way Mixon runs, with the way they like to get Dalton Schultz open, take Dell open over the middle of the field in those crossing routes. It's going to make life really difficult for your entire defense. But I think the linebackers are the ones that, if they're not playing their assignments right, this is going to get ugly.
You mentioned Dalton Schultz. How much they use him at tight end?
He's getting quite a bit. And when still with Dalton Schultz, it's like the routes that you see him catch, the flat routes, the out routes, things like that he's able to kind of he will get lost, and then they'll find him there. So he still catches the ball very, very well for you guys, for the Texans.
29 receptions for 310 yards. Hasn't scored so far this season though.
All right, let's go ahead and take our final break. We'll come back. I want to zero in on the Dallas defense, particularly the cornerback position. Find out from you guys what you think the Cowboys should do this weekend, or Monday, at the cornerback position opposite Trayvon Diggs. We'll be back. DallasCowboys.com radio.
If you can't be at the stadium, there's no better way to watch your Cowboys than on an LG OLED Evo TV. That's because everything you see is more lifelike. Every play, every hit. I mean, you might as well be on the sidelines. That's how clear it is. It's all thanks to LG's legendary technology. Perfect black, over 8.3 million self-lit pixels. No one comes close. LG OLED Evo is the best TV in the game for a reason. See for yourself at lg.com/OLED Evo.
They say champions are remembered, but legends are never forgotten. United Ag and Turf offers a winning lineup of John Deere equipment built to tackle any challenge on and off the field. Legendary John Deere tractors, combines, residential mowers, commercial mowers, compact construction equipment, Gator utility vehicles, and a full line of golf and sports turf equipment. United Ag and Turf, the official Ag and Turf equipment supplier of the Dallas Cowboys. Visit UnitedAgAndTurf.com to find a location near you.
If you shout, "How about them Cowboys?" you have that undeniable passion that's the heart of Cowboys Nation. And if you like to drink Dr. Pepper, you love the unique blend of its 23 flavors. Together, your one-of-a-kind fandom paired with the one-of-a-kind taste of a delicious ice-cold Dr. Pepper is the game day lineup that can't be beat. Better yet, gather your Cowboys and Dr. Pepper fan friends to watch the next game and crack open a delicious ice-cold Dr. Pepper for everyone. The wins will be even tastier. It's a Pepper thing.
And we're going to overtime.
Erica, how much have I spent on concessions?
For questions about their money, Dallas Cowboys fans can turn to Erica, the virtual financial assistant in the Bank of America mobile banking app. Learn more at bankofamerica.com/Erica by your side. Bank of America, official bank of the Dallas Cowboys. Erica responses may vary. Digital tools featured require downloading the mobile banking app and may only be available on select mobile devices. Erica is a mobile feature only available in the English language. Your chat may be recorded and monitored for quality assurance. Message and data rates and additional terms may apply. Bank of America, N.A., member FDIC.
Todd thought it would be secure to jog in the cheetah savanna. Todd believed the big cat repellent he bought online was reliable. And now, Todd is trying to be faster than this cheetah that can run 80 miles per hour. But the good news is, Todd has AT&T 5G that is fast, reliable, and secure. And he learned the best thing to do is stop running and toss her the backpack with the beef stew. AT&T 5G. Fast, reliable, secure.
5G requires compatible plan and device. 5G may not be available in your area. See att.com/5G for you for details.
Back to the break.
AT&T, connecting changes everything.
It does.
That's my favorite read.
They're really good at that.
Yeah.
AT&T.
AT&T.
That's good stuff. Welcome back. Final segment of the break, live from the SWBC Mortgage Studios at the Star. We're talking Cowboys versus Texans. Man, this is going to be an interesting game, an interesting weekend. There's a bunch of fans from Houston that are going to be tuned in for this one, and
Who
probably
you
going to maybe
rooting
show
for?
up. What do you mean? Who am I rooting for?
This weekend.
I have not been a Houston fan since the Oilers left. That was the last time I was a fan.
Love
Now
your
I am still a fan of the Rockets, and I will forever be a fan of the Rockets because I'm just an Akeem fan, so I'll always be a fan of the Rockets. But when the Oilers left, yeah, my allegiance to Houston was gone from a football.
You got a lot of family and friends that are Texans fans?
Not as many. Most of them have transitioned over to being Cowboys fans because of me.
Very cool.
But I do have some that are still Texans fans. I got a few coming up this week for the game. So yeah, it's an interesting time. We'll see how it goes. Let's talk about this Dallas defense. Right now, with what you've seen from Kalen Carson and looking at how he played in this last game, Dallas made the move to take him out at one point during that game. Do you think it's at a point now where they need to just kind of move on from him for the rest of this year as far as having him out there as a starter and go with another option just so he can, more than anything else, just kind of keep his head from getting in a bad place?
Wow.
What?
He didn't listen to yesterday's show, I guess.
What? Did you say something about that?
We kind of talked about it, right?
Did you? All right. Well, for the sake of me and those that may not have listened, you mind filling me in?
You've been caught, Derek. You don't listen to your own show.
I was in meetings. That was why. If I could listen, I would have been here.
But we didn't get to that far out. Like we talked about just for now, not necessarily for the rest of the season.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm just thinking, like, for a young guy like him, I think we all agree the guy has some talent. Mm-hmm. He's not a bad player.
Yeah.
He's put on film some bad moments. And I think sometimes for a young guy, it can be a good thing to tell him, hey, just sit for a second. Let's just watch, learn, and for more than anything else, just to keep him from getting into such a bad place to where you ruin him for the future. Do you think it's at that point for somebody like Kalen Carson?
I'll answer your question. I think one of the things that stunted his growth the most was going up against a receiving corps at training camp that is just simply not talented. And he built a lot of confidence against a receiving corps that has not really shown that they are worthy of being, one of the better ones even in the division, much less the entire NFL. And you see the very first preseason game against the Rams, they started attacking Kalen Carson. If you remember, Kalen Carson did not have a good day that day.
Yeah.
They were just going at him. We're like, Kalen Carson, he's been great in camp. These days are going to come. Little did we know those were the days. So I think getting Israel Mukuamu starting, moving forward, I think it's the better move. I think Carson needs to build back his confidence.
I think I would shuffle him. What I would do is maybe if Mukuamu would play 2 series or whatever, and this thing's not going anywhere. I mean, I don't think it is. That's my opinion. But what I would do is maybe Mukuamu, you get to a point in time of a game, teams will game plan knowing that 21's out there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So all of a sudden, it's 24, it's 24, it's 24. Oh, wait, 21's out there. Now you're kind of, do we need to get to it now? You're maybe with the flow of the game, things have kind of, maybe your pass rush is getting home.
Yeah.
Maybe you're causing some pressures and things like that. I don't completely just sit him down. I you want to play him twice, two times in the first half, 2 times in the second half, but just keep him occupied. Don't put him in timeout. He needs reps. They're attacking him. Yeah, he's not real confident. Yeah, his shoulder hurts. Yeah, he's worried about getting hurt again. There's a lot of things going on. The double moves. The more this season is what it is. Go out there and just let him get more experience and let him take his lumps, which he has. But you never know. Maybe he'll show up one day and he'll have some success, a series to a series, and he gets a little bit more confidence. But I just don't sit him down. If you want to start Mukuamu, you need to figure out what to deal with Bland, but that might be too late to even think about that. That might be something that might be that might be a whole season thing. I don't know. I'm just putting it out there right now. But to me, it's I keep playing the kid, but alternate him. Maybe once every third series or something. Put him out there and let him get a little bit more experience. You don't have to do it when the game's on the line or anything, or right before the half if they're trying to stop a 2-minute drive. But coming out of the half or something like that, just go with him and see. Give him a little bit more of an opportunity.
Yeah, I completely agree. I've said this before. I still like him, and I think there's a lot more to him than what he's currently showing. And I also agree with him needing that mental break where he comes out and, okay, it does, because it can really damage a player, the mental aspect of it, when you're constantly getting attacked and beat down.
Especially at corner.
Yeah.
And with him being so young, too, So I do think rotate him, throw him in there for some reps, because at the same time, we know NFL experience, like game day experience, that's very difficult to come by. So with the way the season is going currently, you're not going to lose much. The way it's trending, you're not going to lose much by actually throwing him out there and letting him play some more.
Don't let his going into 2025 be that question of, man, it was really rough for you last year. Maybe you can find
some success.
Yeah, you're a 3-6 team right now. Yeah. You're really, you're looking at everybody above you. You're to the old thing. You're as that old box that says playoff picture in the hunt. You're not even in the hunt. Mm-hmm. You're out of the hunt. Mm-hmm. So don't sit there and just say, well, he just had a lot. No, you're not a good football team. And just give him an opportunity to try and kind of work his way out of it. That when he gets ready for the offseason, it's like maybe he had a couple of plays where he had some success. He maybe got an interception. Somebody overthrew a ball, or they tipped it up and he got it, or something where he can at least feel good going in the offseason that he did something the right way, not completely the wrong way.
Duke 22 on X asked any word on Bland, and I'll take that question a little bit further. Do you think it gets to a point at some point this season, if he hasn't returned, to where maybe they look at, hey, we could put him on IR and you could bring up someone like a Josh Butler or a Keeman Hall, where you now get a chance to evaluate some of those guys as opposed to just kind of holding on to the hope that he comes back?
Doesn't sound like he's in a better spot this week than he was last week. Yeah. As far as your second question there, that's a tough one, because if you put him on IR, it's obviously out for 4 weeks. Right. I think
if you did that, you'd be saying probably just we're going to sit him for the year. I would guess.
Yeah.
But go ahead.
And you're also giving up on what the season has ahead. And while there's a lot of people on that side of the building who have not given up on
absolutely
on
not.
Side.
Right. Nor would I expect them to.
Exactly. Yeah. And I think they want to have Bland back in case that they are able to put together a run.
No, you get it right. Yeah, you're right.
All right. Real quick, Micah Parsons returned last week. Give me an assessment on what you think he looked like last week. And not just, obviously, we saw the big splash plays, but overall, looking at everything else, how would you assess his play?
The defense has some jump when he's in there. Mm-hmm. They double team him, and it allows somebody else to come around and get a pressure unblocked or one-on-one, or, it makes Osa better. It makes everybody in that. It made Carl Lawson better. It made Overshown better. The defense did a really nice job. I mean, like I say, they start the second half and get a 3 and out. And what do you do on offense? You 3 and out it just right back to them. This defense with him out there, they looked like an NFL defense. They got after, they pressured, they had some mistakes because of what's going on at left corner. But he's a difference maker. There's just no question about that.
Yeah, the defense eventually broke. They were bending, and then eventually broke there in the second half. But I think from a pass rush perspective, when Micah Parsons is on the field, it is a trickle-down effect for everybody. I actually asked Mike Zimmer about that on Monday, and he feels the same way. He kind of gave me, it was like, well, it's our best pass rusher. Of course, he's going to help everybody else. So it's
okay, dumbass.
Yeah,
what he did?
Yeah, it's
basically
knowing Zim, he probably said, "Yeah, dumbass."
Sherlock.
Yeah, he says that to me before. Yeah, dumbass. I keep saying that, but I've heard that before.
But it was still impressive, the fact that he had been out for that amount of time and felt like he didn't necessarily miss a beat. Like he went in there. Yeah. And we also talked about in your breakdown, Brian, the prior week heading into the game, how the Eagles have sometimes been able to manage him and kind of mentally drive him a little nuts at times and frustrate him. And we've seen it before. When he gets frustrated, it messes up his game and all of that. And I think he was able to go in there and handle everything. And it once again goes to show, and this works in his favor for whatever else is going to happen for his future. It shows how valuable a guy like him is to this defense.
Yeah. The thing going into this week, and I don't know about you guys, I saw the defense try something. I saw them try to do something do something by, hey, we're not going to play the same scheme that we've been playing. We're going to try and play the run a little different. We're going to try and rush the passer. And
be more aggressive.
Parsons had a lot to do with that. They were able to kind of do some things. Our show talked about, hey, we'd love to see Overshown rush. They got him. We saw that could have been 3 sacks and a half right there from that rush. I'm just asking the offense to try and do the same thing. If we're gonna watch losing football, please give me a reason to say, you know what, they tried this, and you know what, for half the game it really worked out well. They ran out of gas.
Yeah.
Offense, please just try something different. Try. If it's put Trey Lance in the second series of the game, if it's something that, if it's something just to give it a spark to where it's not just, McCarthy even said it on Monday. He goes, well, the second half of football was hard. Some of the hardest football. Okay, sir, you're the play caller. I know you don't have all your guys, but you're the play caller.
Yeah.
Don't tell me how hard it is. Figure it out. Figure out something. Like Zimmer's over there dying with the left corner that's not ready to play. But so what is he having to do? Double A gap blitz. He's putting Leofau out there. He's making Overshown a rusher. He's doing different things. If you're going to die that way, die fighting.
Yeah.
Don't just die throwing hitches and stick routes.
So dramatic.
Well, no, but that's what I'm saying. In football, you watch the games, and we're sitting in the press box. What do? We die. We watch it. We die. We it's like football die. We just. Oh man, But when they come out blitzing and sacking Hurts and stuff, it gives us football life.
Yeah.
We're like, here we go. That's what we need right there. And then the offense, boom.
Yeah. A good example of that, Brian, is you look at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers right now. They lost both their top 2 offensive weapons, their 2 receivers, and they are still every week very, very competitive against good teams.
The quarterback won't let them die.
Yeah, because they keep just figuring out ways to be in the game. And by the way, they probably are not going to go anywhere this year, but the fact is they're still a team that's very competitive because they're just still fighting in that way. And that's what you saw in the first half from Dallas. Yeah. I think last week it just fell apart in the second half, but that's what I want to see. I want to see that fight, regardless of what the outcome is. I want to see that fight, and I want to see you trying something different.
Something different.
You want to see something different. The different this week will be Jonathan Mingo, and then we'll be talking about the very exact same thing next week.
Oh, so you're saying Mingo will be involved?
It'll be the different.
And
that'll be the different that they'll mention.
Be the different.
But am I wrong?
You're not. You're not at all.
I mean,
I've been talking about.
You sit there and you're like looking at the game and you're going, "Damn, that I've seen this before."
I've been talking about creativity in this offense, needing it to happen since I feel like at times last year, and it's just even when they need it the most, they still can't throw it out.
An illustration of what it was like me at the game. I'm sitting there in my computer. Sitting there on my computer doing other stuff that I need to do, and then all of a sudden they get a sack. I'm like, oh my god, hold on. I can't find the freaking graphic because I did not have it ready because I didn't expect that to happen necessarily. So and it was exciting to your point at least on one end for sure.
If we're gonna be, outmanned, outgunned, all that stuff, come up with something that they're not good at doing this. The other team, they can't handle this. Like I say, watch that Green Bay game, and you tell me if they can handle the double A gap blitz down there in H-Town.
Yep.
No, they can't. Watch it. It's going to happen this Monday night.
All right. When does Zimmer send Micah?
So get ready on that one.
It has to
Mike is to the point now where he knows he's got just a few games left. Probably he's going to punish somebody.
I'm talking about A-gap specifically.
Yeah,
it's coming.
Because we saw it so many times.
Him and Overshown. Get ready. Yeah.
Send them both through the A-gap.
Yeah.
Maybe not. Well, at the same time, but also just alternating each of them.
Yeah.
All right. Appreciate you guys joining us. We'll be back tomorrow. We will jump into the Dallas offense
Mason can't block.
versus this Texans defense. Till then, for Nick Harris, Bryan Broaddus, Ambar Garcia, I'm Derek Eagle. This has been The Break live on DallasCowboys.com radio.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about